We're going to welcome in. We're going to welcome in some Prattville royalty right now. A man that needs no introduction, but we're going to introduce him anyway. The man who put Prattville High School athletics, who put Prattville High School football on the map starting back in 1999, all the way through the 2008 season, where we reeled off back-to-back state championships because of this man and his influence and his impact in this community. And you know what I'm talking about if you've been living in here for more than a minute. I'm talking about Coach Bill Clark. So, Coach, it's an honor to have you sitting in this booth with us right now.
Thanks. Good to be with you guys.
And first thing, health. Let's talk about your health. You had the surgery, and you look good, man. I thought I was going to wrestle you when you came in the stadium, but you said no to the challenge.
Yes, I don't think I would have been able to handle you tonight. So.
But you look good, man, and we're so proud and happy to have you in here. Jennifer's with you.
Yeah.
Of course, we want to get into Katie and Jake and grandchildren and all that stuff. But you got to be miserable, man. You're not coaching right now. I know you're still probably helping every team in the country because they're probably wanting your advice. But talk about just this time in your life right now.
Yeah. So, all the way back to, we'll go back to the 80s when me and you were in school. That's when I got hurt originally and had a surgery in 97. Even when I was here, I was recovering from a discectomy, but it finally got bad. Last few years, couldn't hardly stand, ended up having a fusion. If people are familiar with back surgeries, fusion's not the thing you want to do.
No,
but you do, you just say, hey, I've got to put my health first. And what I hadn't been able to do is take time off. So I really had to step away. I think I left it in great hands. All my coaches, all my guys are there. A lot of guys that played here, Kyle Tatum, Larry Smith. So, in good hands, and they got a big battle going on tonight, in fact, at Western Kentucky. So excited for those guys. Great to be home. This is, Jennifer and I were riding around and like, okay, we remember this street. And, we raised our kids here. We went to church here. So many good memories, obviously, with a guy, about to sit down and talk to Duwan Walker. Defensive coordinator, with me and for me here. And then, we went to South and UAB, Jack State, then UAB. They don't get any better. And, of course, he's still in this community with a son out there as a drum major, so we get to check him out tonight. So it's just good to be back, good to see a lot of the home folks and family. Good to be back.
And listen, man, and I know everybody's going to try to hug you and be careful out there in the stands because they're going to come see you. But talk about what when you first got here.
Yep.
What you were facing, because we were a program that really was in just a standstill, really, and you came in and you had a lot to do and to get your coaches and get the players involved, and, man, led us to untouched heights since and forever. And but talk about that little transition you had to when you first got here.
Yeah, there's probably so many stories people don't know that I've probably not really told. Maybe I've told a few of them, but, when I got here in the summer, June of 99, really the job was offered to me, and I really thought this was a great place to be. But I told him, I said, I can't accept it, and it's not about the money. It's about the number of coaches we need.
Yeah.
And at that time, Superintendent Murchison came back and promised me that we would be able to get some staff. And, it was literally we had 18 people show up for our first meeting in June, which it wasn't very smart to take a job in June playing, Opelika and Jeff Davis and Lee and all those guys. And, we went to Burger King, we went to Wendy's, we went to Pizza Hut, and we found those guys, and we got them out. And at the same time, we were in that old field house knowing we had to do some things, and, we had to get out in the community. Obviously the big thing was getting players out, and really that first year we were able to win 7 games, I always say by the grace of God.
Yeah.
But just from there, getting players out, getting them out of the junior high, obviously, we had Larry Butler at the junior high, kind of helped talk him into running for superintendent, which was a huge deal for us. I saw Jim Byard down there. The city council, we weren't a city school. And to get those guys involved, I cannot say enough about Jim. And those guys, every time we would say, look, we need this, this, and this, obviously you're looking at the turf. And, I was really at that time wanting a stadium. I wanted this to be the visitors and that to be the home and get a new locker room. But at the time we said, all right, you can do one thing. I said, all right, let's go get turf. And people were like, well, why would you want turf? I said, well, by the last game of the season, the middle was worn down.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'd only played on it 5 or 6 times, But I thought that was a game changer for us. And obviously, big thing obviously as an athletic department, we started winning in everything, and we had won in different things. But, we had everybody training. We wanted everybody lifting. We were training athletes. guys, girls.
Right.
And we won in everything, you know, and I think that was what a program looks like.
Yeah.
Developing the junior high, getting those kids to come over and start lifting. You know, we started busting those guys over. Once again, Larry Butler let that happen, you know. And, of course, Roy Johnson was my principal when I first got here, who had been a coach. Then we get Lee Hicks, you know, who had coached for me and who now, you know, became a superintendent, who was a guy that got it, as I say, you know. And we had great academics. We had great athletics, you know, and I think we were winning in everything. So, and, you know, of course, it's great to see our town has grown, you know, like it has. But just so many great folks here, so many great people, and great place to raise the kids. And
you coached JB, right?
Yeah, JB Wallace played for me. He was there was only like 2 guys I found when I drove up in 99. I always said the grass was about at my knees, and JB was up there running. And there was a few other guys, but not many. I mean, literally, there was literally about 20-something guys, and I always laugh, and this is not a knock on kickers, but I think we had 6 kickers at the first meeting, and out of the 20-something, and I love kickers, but, you know, we had to go find some players. And
they tend to live longer,
Your
Coach.
dad, they do. Your dad helped me take them off to camp, and I tell guys all the time. I was telling this story yesterday might have been on media somewhere. I was telling a story about our first trip to a camp, and it was very Remember the Titans like. I mean, they literally thought they were going on a vacation, and they had packed their bathing suits and all that stuff, and that wasn't a vacation. Needless to say, I'm sure they'll tell you some stories about our trip to camp those first few years, but the first one was so big because, you know, that was where we had to make a commitment. And, you know, there was a story of guys that would not show up for practice but still playing the games before we got here, and I said, you know, that's not going to fly. But we had to make a commitment. Of course, we got the indoor built, you know, and, you know, there's so many great things. Obviously, so many big wins here. And, you know, it's just
set the standard, Coach. You set the standard with the indoor, and everybody had to come up and match that. And they continued to build, and we haven't continued to build, but we're about to build. We're about to build the new Stanley Jensen Stadium, and I think it's a lot because of the legacy that you put in place here. I mean, Coach DuBose, who came after you, and Coach Ross, who came after you, and Coach Wallace, who came after you, they all say, we go by the blueprint that Coach Clark left us.
Well, you know, and that was the thing. I've always said one of the things I was able to do was get great people around me. You know, and I said that with Duwan Walker. I mean, there's not a better man, but there's also that's a great coach, and I think that's what we always try to do. And I think that was why we got a lot of players out. We got a lot of people involved. We had great people. We had great help. We had great people in the community like Chip and you guys. But you know, I would say this to anybody. If you want something good, you got to commit to it. You know, you got to invest in it. You know, let's look at UAB. You know, we get the program shut down, and you know, the story was, well, you know, will you stay? We'll get involved. And these were a lot of non-UAB folks from the city of Birmingham. I said, I will stay if we do it right. And I said, that's going to start with a new facility, and I'll help you raise the money. And then, of course, the stadium that Birmingham needed, we got to build that stadium.
Beautiful stadium.
And that took that was city, county, the BJCC, UAB. All these people had to come together. What is it doing for Birmingham now? So I would just encourage the people of Prattville. That's what we need. I'm going to say we because this is my place too. So I'm not living here. I know I'm not paying the taxes. But, I think an investment, that's what gets kids out. And, you know, we always say that extracurriculars are not more important than academics, but they are important. And that's it's community pride. It gets people to come to the community. It's so good for the kids. It makes them, I used to say that we didn't get rid of many guys, but I remember I'd say, all right, this guy's just not standing up to our standard. We're going to have to remove him. And the principal would come to me and say, Coach, please don't remove this guy. You're the reason we can, he does good. And that's what you want. It's when it's this big team effort with the band and the cheerleaders and the team and the community, and that's why you need to invest. You just really do.
One of the things, what you did here was phenomenal, but what you did at UAB is unheard of, and there's going to have to be a 30-on-30 of your story there one day, because that's out of this world, the job you did, and we don't have time to talk about the whole thing tonight, but I want to ask you and Duwan, I'm going to give Duwan my headphones. Was there a particular moment or game that led to y'all going, we got an opportunity to win some state championships here? And I'm going to turn it over to Duwan and y'all to talk.
Yeah, let Duwan answer that question.
He didn't hear it.
I missed the question.
His question was what was said that we could do good things here or win a state championship.
What was the point that you knew we can do something here?
Well, Coach saw it early on. He was the one that recruited and put everything together. And he was the one that sold the vision to my wife.
First and foremost. Right?
I recruited her first. So.
He sold the vision to her because our first meeting, I remember the first team meeting was 18 guys. I thought I'm thinking we're playing baseball. And he said, no, they're here. And he talked about the size of the school and the community, and the rest is history. But they were in the hallways. They were at Pizza Hut. They was at all these different restaurants. And, we just had to go and get them wherever they were. And that's one thing Coach did a great job of. He saw the vision early and sold it.
And you'd be shocked, like, guys, it's still to this day, going back as these teams come through summer, they sit them all down and they show them the Prattville Way movie that features those championship runs, and then it reminds them who they are,
yep,
where they come from, who they play for, and why it means so much. And you guys are the gold standard, still to this day.
Well, I think, the community was here. I mean, the people were here, and we had such a good community, and it was really just bringing it out of the people here and the kids. I mean, our kids had a natural toughness. They had they just had something that was here before we got here. It was just getting them out, making it important, making games fun, and that's why we talk about a buy-in from everybody.
Absolutely.
And we always say putting that great product out on the field is what gets the next generation playing, which gets people involved. And you want all band, cheerleaders, everybody involved, and I think that's what I remember.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, Coach, a little personal story with me is when I first started doing this, first year. Of course, I always tell this story. Everybody was like, Coach Clark was like, Chip, who's this guy coming from Georgia over here to do our sideline stuff? What's going on with this guy? But once I got to do it for the season and everything, and it caught the bug. I really caught the bug of not just broadcasting, but promoting the high school and promoting what all the kids do and everything. And you called me in your office after the season, and you got me in there, and you just laid out what all your vision you wanted to see as far as the video production and everything going on. And of course, things changed. You took the job to it, but your motivation showed me what was possible.
Yeah.
16 years later, I'm here.
Yeah.
Today,
you've done a great job.
Tonight is his 200th consecutive game.
I know. That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And that's what it looks like when you get people that care and are part of the program and help grow it, And also the things Stacy does as far as just promoting Prattville line football and athletics, but specifically football. I mean, that's what get kids out. And, we're big believers in what sports does for all young people. Specifically football, is just, making better people, making better citizens, making better students. So, along the way, we're going to try, win some football games, but it's what you're teaching them and how they grow from it and the life lessons they learn truly is still.
Absolutely, Coach. I know you didn't have a lot. You didn't get a lot of chance to teach them what you can learn in a loss because you only lost like 9 games in 11 years. But, tonight might be a different story. But, hey, all these teams that we're playing against, the Auburns and the Centrals and the Hoovers, they're all following the Bill Clark blueprint. They saw it, they saw how it worked, and then they've continued to grow and capitalize on it. And we've got to take the next step here. And so it's an honor to have you guys up here with us tonight. I know you got a lot of people that are wanting a piece of your time tonight, and so we're gonna let you go. But I just want to thank you guys for what you did here, for the standard you set here, and for coming back and spending some time with us tonight.
Well, we're going to be pulling for Coach Wallace, and I see a lot of I do see Quay Moncrief and Corey Lee, and I know there's other guys. I think I saw Brandon Bailey, guys that were played on our teams, were part of that. So we're always going to be pulling for them, and obviously you got Coach Walker here in town, so. Y'all need to be tapping that knowledge every chance you can get of him. But we'll always be pulling for y'all.
And, Coach, no doubt when we get the new stadium built, you have to come back to a game.
Yep.
That way you could ride the elevator up to the press box if you want to.
That's right.
And it'll be in the home side where it ought to be.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you very much. This is Coach Bill Clark, Coach Duwan Walker, Prattville royalty, legacy up here tonight in the booth on senior night. Couldn't have it any other way. We're going